Today's training, this is a relatively short one, is on scouts with disabilities. The majority of disabilities you guys will encounter with a scout camp, for the most part, will be physical disabilities. That being said, we will have scouts who do have cognitive disabilities as well. I really want you to understand with this process is we're still not able to change or adapt or lengthen or shorten any of the requirements for merit badges. So you have to abide by what the book says. The exception would be if you have a special written form that indicates that the scout has accommodations. So you're going to do your best to include that scout at the same level and in the same way you would with any other scout who is not disabled or differently able. So that being said, moving forward with this, one of the best things you can do to help aid yourself in this is find out what that scout is capable of doing. So in terms of physical disabilities, let's say it's something like spinal bifida where you have issues moving or coordination in that regard. What can that scout do in your area? What can that scout do safely without jeopardizing his safety or yours or any else ones around? So something like climbing, you might have to work that out. What is that scout capable of? What can they do? You want to look at it from that perspective rather than what can't they do. So find out what's possible rather than what's not possible with that scout. One that's going to be a good way to connect, and then also furthermore going beyond that, you've got your ability to get as far as you can with those requirements. Frequently with disabled scouts, there's a stigma around them. Some people feel very uncomfortable working with those with disabilities. It's important that you do not reflect that stigma, despite the fact you might be comfortable or totally uncomfortable working with said scout. If that's the case, the other scouts are going to pick up on that, and that's really not what you want. We're trying to have an inclusive environment here with our scouts, staff. So being the first one to reach out to that scout and setting the example for the rest of the scouters is going to be very, very crucial to your ability to work well with them and the success of your program and the success of that scout. Okay. How many of you have been working here on staff in the past? Quite a few of you. That's over half. That's excellent to see. We have had disabled scouts here at Long Lake. Without naming names, what are some of the disabilities you guys have seen up here at camp? Yeah. Wheelchair bound. Okay. And were you able to accommodate that scout at your range? Yeah, very well. And I know we had a wheelchair bound scout. We actually had do some rappelling at one point as well too. Brad and I helped out back in 2011 along with the climbing staff. Tony? Blind, okay. Accommodated that one too, fantastic, good. So, with those types of accommodations, a scout is blind, a scout is deaf. These things it's important to really understand do not affect the cognitive abilities of that scout. So you have to treat that scout just as you would any other individual. Now obviously there might be physical accommodations in but the intellect, the ability is still there. Billy, you have your hand up?
Learning disabilities.
Learning disabilities. Any in particular?
There's kind of slow. I forget what it is. Just slow things.
Okay, so slow to learn, and I suppose you have to work through a little bit slower with a regular scout like that, and a little additional time. Glenn?
Emotional disabilities, ADD,
Emotional disabilities, ADD, which would be a learning disability in terms of attention span. So you will have scouts like that. That's one of the more frequent ones we experience, ADD or ADHD as it's now called. But that ability to keep the kids focused and moving and on task can be, especially for some of your younger staff, is one of the more difficult combinations you have to come about. And in some instances, you might actually have to remove that scout momentarily from the environment, and if he or she cannot necessarily achieve at that level you need to do, there may be some issues with completing requirements. But the idea is you get as many through as you can, the best of their abilities, and demonstrate it or discuss it or whatever particular skill that is that's necessary. Okay, so youth with special needs are more alike than unlike youth without disabilities. We do want to make sure as we are working with these scouts, we do attempt to achieve some of the following items here. Like I've said already, changing that what cannot you do to a what can you do sort of attitude. It's going to give the scout that best experience. It's going to give him a sense of validation and a sense of accomplishment, which is really important. There's a lot of skills out there that are going to be, more difficult to teach than others for various disabilities, especially if it's something that impairs mobility, things like camping, hiking, and swimming and cooking. But if it's severe enough of a disability, I'm sure there'll be an accommodation plan in place already for that scout. We want to have those scouts feel included, so bringing them into the various competitions or activities or events that we do, so they're not just sitting on the sideline. If there's any way, shape, or form that you have an activity, a game, something of that nature, try and find a way to accommodate. And I realize we haven't really talked about exactly the day-to-day program lately. We're going to do a little bit more of that this morning, but want to make sure that whoever you have there is feeling included as well too, which does help build some self-esteem. All right. If an accommodation is needed, we'll have the correct paperwork for that. We'll let you know in advance, or I'm sure the Scoutmaster will help you out with that as well too. And once again, you can't change you cannot change requirements, but you certainly can do whatever you need to get the scout in there. You guys have any questions?